Hi, it's Halloween, and Lar Park Lincoln here, just wanting to drop by and say, hey Harold, happy Halloween. I am in full witch costume, getting ready to scare a few more of the little kitties out there. One of my favorite things to do on Halloween, hide behind the plants and the trees and pop out and give them a few scares and run after them. It's always so much fun. Anyway, I wanted to stop by and let me get comfy here and say hello and touch base with you and see how you're doing. It was so nice to get a request for a cameo from you. Thank you very much. Thanks for being a fan. And guys, I wanted to mention the Sullivan Project Podcast. I have listened to some of Harold's podcasts, and in fact, I saw Sean Cunningham, who you know, of course, is one of my bosses on Friday the 13th, and thought that was an interesting podcast, and that some of the people you've had on have had some insightful and funny and interesting things to say. So I enjoyed that. So the Sullivan Project Podcast is definitely worth your time. Give it a listen, and you may learn something about people that have ghostly experiences, I guess you would say. But Harold, you asked me a couple of things about, if I believed in the paranormal and the supernatural. And, I've had some things in my life that have felt like that. I stayed in a house once where the family had left, and they were in Germany, and we were in the home with all of their belongings, and some things were happening in the house, like, the doors opening and closing and coffee making itself, and just some strange things. Nothing ever came of that except scaring my sister and I to death as we tried to explain to my parents what we were hearing and seeing. But I haven't had a supernatural, paranormal things that most people would call it that. It's not that I don't believe in it. It's that I haven't had it really happen to me, or I haven't been aware of it, that's what it was happening to me, which could certainly be part of it too. So that's what I would say about that. I sure love the ghost stories and all of the fun paranormal shows that are on there. Always fun to watch. And, you asked if I'd ever been close to death before in my life, and I have. I have been close to death a couple of times. Survivor of breast cancer, and the first whole big round of breast cancer, I had 17 surgeries because of some severe medical malpractice, and man, that was just some really, really dark, hard, difficult times when you go through a long illness. It can last a few years before getting well, and long, hard, difficult nights. And just recently, this past summer, I had a very, very intense surgery on my spine and my neck. Had a whole lot of hardware put in my neck from my C2 down to my T2, which is way down my back. A lot of hardware, rods, screws, pins holding me together. And it was a surgery. I had a paralyzed right hand and arm for a while, and paralyzed left arm. And I did get all of my movement back, which I'll be eternally grateful. But the injury that I had messed up with my nerves, my nerves in my neck and the body, and had caused the paralysis that I was experiencing. And I was told I had, not even really 24 hours to have this surgery, or I could end up in a wheelchair also. And it was terrifying, and it was scary. And I did the surgery, and that was rough. Came out of that surgery and was in the full braces and everything, in the hospital for almost 3 months. And, that was as close as I'd ever felt this past summer, as it being close to my end. And I had family and my children and some grandbabies and many friends and many students. I own Actors Audition Studios, so I had many of my students came by and helped me through it. But I think a lot of what helped me through it, as far as advice for someone going through a difficult time, is I've always chosen to look at things as this too shall pass. Nothing stays the same. We don't know if it's going to be better, but if you're in incredible pain, which, I deal with now with the hardware in my neck and back, you deal with incredible pain and you get through it. Sometimes you just need the pain to change, go to a different part of the body, switch its intensity. And sometimes it gets better, but it doesn't stay the same. Things don't stay the same. So I would literally do the old boring advice of deep breathing just for a little bit and just being still and realizing that it was going to change and it wasn't going to last forever. And that's really my advice on getting through a lot of things. And that's what I've done for me personally when I've had difficult times and I've had to figure out how to get through the dark times. And I'm pretty much a pretty cheerful person most of the time and a very positive person, honestly. But, don't ever tell somebody who's going through a really rough time to think positive, right? That's just not the advice that they want to hear at that time. That one doesn't work for me, but myself knowing that it would pass. So I hope that I've been an interesting guest for you, and I appreciate it. And I send you all my best wishes for happiness and health and wealth. And anyway, just thank you so much for touching base. Bye.